As we enter some of the warmest weeks of summer, you may be looking for some lighter dinner options like grilled fish or raw seafood. And even though Minnesota is a landlocked state, the options for fresh seafood in Minnesota are pretty much endless, from walleye to oysters to salmon and scallops. So we headed to Coastal Seafoods in Minneapolis to meet store manager Ryan Ting-ghee to get tips and inspiration for serving up seafood this summer.
So right here we've got cod. That's one of our number one sellers, obviously, during Lent. We've got Arctic char, which is a really neat salmonoid. It's technically a trout, but it's farmed in Iceland. It's a really nice product. It's a little flakier than like a salmon, less firm. Got mahi here. That's a very popular item for fish tacos on the grill.
I'm terrible at grilling fish. Like, what's the pointer that you have?
What you really want to do is oil your grill really well. And what I do is, like about 15 seconds after you get the skin side on the rack there, you want to kind of loosen it up underneath. And the key to it is with fish is it cooks a lot faster than you think. So say like you have a half pound of salmon on the grill. You're looking at probably 8 minutes or so. Some standard ingredients to use would just be like salt, like sea salt, some kind of citrus, and some herbs.
Is it better to do it on charcoal, or is propane a no-no for fish? Or
you can do it on propane. I personally have a charcoal at home, so I use charcoal. I keep it away from the flame a little bit just to kind of keep the heat in with the lid on and the lid open, the little vents. But that's probably my favorite way to cook fish in general.
So in the land of 10,000 lakes, you didn't say anything in here that's from Minnesota. I mean, do you have anything from the state that you sell here?
So typically we would have like walleye that comes from Canada. Most of our lake fish comes from Canada. However, right now they've reached their catch limit. So basically there's only one place out of Winnipeg that's still fishing, and this is a very limited amount. But what's really neat is these fisheries that are sustainable, what they'll do is they'll freeze it so you can buy it all year long. So a lot of people have a misconception about frozen seafood when it's really actually a very sustainable way of selling, eating, and consuming fish. So,
is there anything you can educate me on, like show me how to do something?
Yeah, I can show you how to shuck an oyster. You wanna see an oyster?
Yes.
Well, first thing with an oyster, what you want to do is we want to make sure you have a good kitchen towel. Fold it up, put it over the hand that you're holding the oyster with.
Okay.
Because the thing about an oyster knife, you want to use one, is that they can protrude your hand pretty easily if you don't have that. And so if you look, there's a hitch right here. What you want to do is just get in there, and then you want to rock it back and forth like a can opener, kind of twist. What I do is get the debris out of there. It starts kind of flaking off. You want to get under there, get that muscle underneath there, and then we've got an oyster for somebody.
So I noticed that the taste on that, it wasn't very salty at all.
Yeah, so that particular oyster is going to be a little less briny than something like, say, like a Blue Point or a Moonrise. Those are going to be from a little bit further south, like Massachusetts. West Coast are going to be a little more cucumbery. East Coast oysters, like Virginia, Massachusetts, are going to be a little brinier. And then the further up north you get, the cleaner they are.
Have you noticed big changes in the way that people consume fish in Minnesota, and how has it changed?
The raw category is huge. Oysters are really booming right now. We sell so much stuff for sushi. I mean, people come in, people doing ceviche, all kinds of like raw preparations. Something you would have thought like 10, 20 years ago that being so like unique and strange is very commonplace these days around here. Especially the younger generation is really into raw preparations of oysters. It's really neat to see. But even you see older folks too, they'll come in, they'll be like, I want to try oysters. It's my first time. They'll come back a week later and they're buying 2 dozen. It's really cool.
Any advice that you have for just the safety of sashimi and raw fish and preparation and consumption?
The state of Minnesota allows us to sell farmed salmon as sashimi grade. We have to have parasite destruction forms from all the farms, which means that they are safe. They don't have worms or anything like that. We're very careful about talking to people about not using well-caught fish, but generally speaking, we just sell our salmon, our striped bass, which is a farmed species, and our tuna is the only wild-caught thing we sell for raw consumption. So,
Ryan, thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Clay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
That's Ryan Ting-ghee, manager of Coastal Seafoods in Minneapolis.
Support for NPR comes from the station and from Progressive Insurance with Snapshot, which